You know what's wild? We live in a world that never sleeps. It's like every second someone is yelling louder, pushing harder, scrolling faster. And the craziest part, most of us don't even notice how noisy it's gotten inside our heads. We wake up to alarms, check our phones before we breathe, and we let headlines dictate how we feel before we even open our curtains. That's not peace. It's survival mode. And nobody is meant to live in that state every day. I used to think peace was about the environment. Quiet beaches, a cabin in the wood, no cell service. But man, peace is not a place. It's a decision. It's a practice. It's something you carry inside, even when the world is spinning like a storm around you. There was a time in my life when I had everything people think brings peace, money, fame, influence, but my mind was loud. I was constantly trying to prove something to someone, even to myself. And here's the kicker: the louder my outside world got, the more silent I had to become on the inside, or I was gonna drown in the noise. That's when I learned it's something powerful. Motivaton is not about controlling your thoughts, it's about stopping them from controlling you. Let me repeat that because it shifted my entire mental framework. It's not about forcing the mind to be quiet. It's about learning how to listen without getting dragged away. And when you do that, you start to feel something different. Not happiness, something deeper, something still. That's inner peace. Now I know most people are out here chasing stress relief, grabbing apps and routines and supplements and motivational quotes, but they skip the one essential habit: stillness. And not Netflix still, not scrolling still, real, present moment still. Meditation techniques, they work. But they only work if you show up for them like you would for your best friend in pain. Because your mind is in pain. It's not broken, it's exhausted. And you've been ignoring its cries for silence, for breath, for rest. You ever seen a glass of muddy water? If you just let it sit, the dirt settles. That's your mind. Let it sit. Stop shaking it. Stop pouring more in. And just watch what happens. Right now, you might think, okay, that sounds nice, but how do I actually do it? That's fair. Because I used to feel the same. I'm gonna walk you through it, not just the mindset, but the actual method. And I promise you're gonna hear things that no one told you before, especially the truth about how inner peace is linked to your identity, not your calendar. So stay close, because I'm not just talking about peace, I'm gonna show you how to become it. Let's get something straight: you don't find inner peace by accident. You build it like muscle. You train it like focus. You earn it by facing yourself. Now that might sound intimidating, but let me break it down for you. The first step to peace isn't escape. It's awareness. Most people think they're self-aware just because they know their birthday and what kind of coffee they like. But real self-awareness, it's when you notice your stress before it explodes. When you hear your thoughts getting toxic before they become beliefs. I had to start by listening to my own noise. Not just hearing it, listening. The doubts, the expectations I put on myself, the guilt I carry from stuff I never healed from. It's like walking into a messy room and pretending it's clean just because the lights are off. But when I turned those lights on, I realized most of my chaos wasn't coming from the world, it was coming from the war I hadn't stopped fighting inside my own head. That's where Motivaton changed the game for me. It's not some mystical practice for monks and gurus. It's attention. That's all it is. Wherever your attention goes, your energy follows. So if you're always paying attention to problems, noise, drama, chaos, guess what grows? But if you train your mind, if you practice focusing it on the present moment, on the breath, on the senses, on the now, you start to create mental clarity. Not because life got easier, but because you got quieter inside. I'll give you a technique that helped me in real time. It's simple. It's not flashy, but it works. Ready? The 4-7-8 breath. For seconds in, hold it for 7. Exhale slowly for 8. Do that 5 times. You'll feel your nervous system hit the brakes like you just tapped into the emergency calm button. It's not magic. That's biology. That's how you tell your brain, hey, we're safe now. You might be tempted to underestimate that, but listen, we overcomplicate healing. We think we need 100 steps to feel better, but most of the time, we just need 10 seconds of presence. Just 10 seconds where your mind isn't in the past or panicking about the future. 10 seconds where you let go of the pressure to be perfect. 10 seconds where you remember you're human and being here is already enough. You know how you reset a phone when it's glitching. You shut it down. You pause it. You give it space to restart. But we never do that for our own minds. We just push harder. Burn out and call it ambition. But burnout is not a badge of honor. It's a sign you've been ignoring your inner peace for too long. It's a reminder that stress relief isn't optional, it's survival. And if you don't make space for peace, your body will force you to. Through exhaustion, through sickness, through breakdowns that look like failure, but are really just overdue rest. And I'll be real with you, I saw that happening in my own life. Times when I looked strong on the outside, but was barely holding it together inside. I had to make a shift, not just in habits, but in values. I stopped worshiping business ends, stopped confusing productivity with worth. I started treating peace like it was the goal, not just the reward at the end of a hustle. You want to hear something crazy? Some of the most centered, clear-minded people I've met weren't the richest. They weren't even the loudest or the most followed. They were the ones who understood the value of silence, who weren't scared to be alone with their thoughts. People who could walk through chaos and not become chaos. They knew something most people don't, that the world doesn't need more noise. It needs more people who found their calm. And when you find it, I mean really find it, you become unshakable. Not because nothing bothers you, but because you learn how not to react to everything. Think about that. What would your life look like if you didn't react to everything that used to disturb your peace? That one thought, that one person, that one memory. What if instead of spiraling, you took one breath and returned to your center? That's what a calm mind gives you. Not a perfect life, but the power to stand still while everything else moves. And we're just getting started, because in a second, we're going to dig into how your environment, your identity, and even your relationships are either feeding your peace or robbing it silently. I'm going to show you how to protect your energy like your life depends on it, because truth is, it does. Let's talk about something nobody warns you about. Your environment is shaping your mind more than your thoughts are. You could do all the meditation techniques in the world, but if your environment is chaotic, if your daily life feels like a battlefield, then your nervous system is already at war before you even have a chance to breathe. I had to learn this the hard way. There was a time in my life when I was working nonstop, surrounded by energy that wasn't peaceful, people pushing their own agendas, phones blowing up, expectations stacked high like bricks on my back. And I used to tell myself, I'm strong enough to handle it. But you know what's stronger than strength? Awareness. Awareness tells you when it's time to leave a room. Strength just tells you to survive it. If you want a calm mind, you have to stop entertaining chaos. It's not just about who you are, it's about who you're around. You could be planting seeds of peace every day, but if you're in a storm of noise, don't be surprised when nothing grows. Now, I'm not saying you need to cut everyone off and move to a mountain, but you need to get honest. Some people are walking anxiety triggers. They don't even mean to be. They've just never learned how to be at peace with themselves. So they spill their storm onto you. And here's the kicker, you can't control the weather outside, but you can build a shelter inside. That's where mindfulness becomes your best friend. Mindfulness isn't about being calm all the time. It's about being present with what's happening without being dragged into the drama of it, like watching a storm through a window instead of running into it. You see it, but you stay rooted. Now, let's dive into something deeper: identity. You want to know why most people never find peace? Because they've built an identity around pain, around proving, around performance. I used to be that guy. I thought if I just achieved more, if I worked harder, if I kept winning, then one day I'd arrive at peace. But peace doesn't come at the finish line. It comes when you stop running from yourself. So I had to ask myself, who am I without the achievements? Who am I when I'm not performing, when no one's watching? And the answer scared me at first because I didn't know. But here's the truth. Inner peace is the byproduct of knowing yourself beyond what you produce. It's being okay with who you are when everything is quiet and there's no applause, no validation, no noise. That's you. Let me put it this way: mental clarity is not about knowing what to do next. It's about knowing who you are, so even when the road gets dark, you don't lose your way. I met this man once. He wasn't famous, wasn't rich. But the moment he walked into a room, you could feel the peace on him. He didn't say much, didn't try to impress, but there was this grounded calm that made people lean in. Later, I found out he meditated every morning. Not for Instagram, not to say he did, just to stay anchored. He told me something I never forgot: peace isn't loud, it's presence. And ever since then, I've chased that kind of stillness, the kind you don't need to advertise. Do you want stress relief? Start eliminating what you're not. Start peeling back the layers of false expectations, false roles, false urgency. You don't owe the world your exhaustion. You owe it your truth. That's why the way you structure your space matters. That's why our first and last 10 minutes of your day are sacred. Those are the moments your mind is most open. And yet we feed it chaos emails, alerts, comparison, pressure. What if you flipped the script? What if you started and ended your day in silence, with stillness, with breath, with a reminder that your peace is not negotiable? Try this next time you wake up. Before you grab your phone, put one hand on your heart and ask, how do I want to feel today? Not what do I need to do? Not what's on the schedule. Just what would peace look like now? Let that answer shape your actions. Let that mindset build your environment. And if you slip, because we all do, don't shame yourself. Just return. Return to the breath. Return to the calm. Return to the place inside you that never stopped waiting to be heard. Because that place is still there, still quiet, still powerful. And the next part, we're gonna unlock something that might be the most overlooked element of inner peace: how your daily micro decisions either build your sanctuary or burn it down slowly. I'm gonna show you how peace isn't found in big moments, but in the small, sacred choices you make every single day. Let me tell you something I wish someone told me earlier: peace isn't found in one big breakthrough. It's found in 100 tiny choices no one sees. The way you wake up, the way you speak to yourself, the way you pause before reacting. That's the real battlefield. Peace is built in the micro moments, and most of us miss it. We wait for a weekend getaway, a promotion, a miracle, thinking that's when peace will come. But peace doesn't show up when your life gets perfect. It shows up when your habits change. You want to calm mind? Start small. Start with how you enter your mornings. Do you grab your phone and scroll through chaos before your feet touch the floor? Or do you take a moment, one breath, to remind yourself, I am not my task. I am not my notifications. I am allowed to begin in stillness. That's not soft, it's power. The world trains you to react, but mindfulness trains you to respond. Every day you make hundreds of decisions. Some big, but most small. And here's the thing, your nervous system can't tell the difference between a tiny panic and a big one. So when you keep reacting to little stressors like their life or death, you're constantly running on adrenaline. You're fried, you're tense. You can't think clearly, and you call it normal. That's why mental clarity feels so rare. We live in a fog of constant alerts, constant pressure, constant proving, and no one teaches us how to come home to ourselves. But you can, right now. And it doesn't require anything fancy, just intention, just repetition. Let me give you a tool that changed how I move through the world. I call it the sacred pause. Here's how it works. Before any reaction, before you answer that email, before you respond to that disrespect, before you make that decision, you pause. To ask, is this reaction aligned with the person I want to be? Just that one pause. It rewires your brain. It brings you back to center. And when you do it enough, you create space. And that's pace. That's where peace lives. Not in control. Not in perfection, in space. You see, stress relief doesn't come from numbing out. It comes from learning to sit in discomfort without letting it define you. Because real peace isn't the absence of difficulty. It's the presence of awareness inside difficulty. I'll give you a real example. I knew a woman who worked 3 jobs. Single mom. Life was noisy, unpredictable. But every morning before the sun came up, she sat in silence for 5 minutes. No music, no phone, just breath and presence. And it wasn't about the time. It was about the choice. That 5 minutes, it changed her. It didn't make her problems disappear, but it gave her the energy and focus to face them differently. That's what mindfulness does. It doesn't make life easier, it makes you clearer. Let's talk about attention for a second. Your attention is your most valuable currency. You pay attention, you invest it, you spend it. So where is your attention going? To worry, to comparison, to other people's chaos, because wherever your attention goes, your energy follows. And when your attention is fractured, your peace is too. That's why meditation techniques work. They're not some magic spell. They're attention training. They bring your focus back to the breath, back to the body, back to the now. I'll give you one right here. It's called the 5 senses grounding technique. Stop and notice one thing you can taste, 2 things you can smell, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can touch, 5 things you can see. That might sound simple, but in moments of stress, it snaps you out of mental chaos and into presence. And here's the beautiful part. You can do this anywhere. At your desk, in a meeting, in traffic. It's a portable reset. But here's the truth, and it's gonna sting a little. Most people don't want peace. They want distraction. They want comfort. They want noise that drowns out their real emotions. Because silence is scary until you realize that silence is where the truth lies. And once you've touched trio peace, the kind that doesn't depend on anyone or anything, you won't want to go back. Because nothing you chase compares to the stillness you carry. Let me ask you this. If you were fully at peace, what would change? What would you stop tolerating? What would you start protecting? Because that is what we're moving toward. Not a better to-do list. Not a cleaner inbox. A stronger center. A calmer nervous system. A mind that feels safe to live in. And I want you to hear this loud. You deserve that kind of peace. Not when you fixed everything. And not when you've earned it. Right now, we're not finished yet. Because next time, I'm gonna show you how to hold on to that peace even when the world is pulling at you from every angle. You'll learn how to protect it like your most valuable asset, because it is. You made it this far, and that tells me something important. You're ready to take back your peace. But here's the truth nobody tells you. Finding inner peace is just step 1. Keeping it, that's the real challenge. Because the world doesn't just hand out calm like candy. It pushes, pulls, shakes you. And if you're not anchored, your peace will slip away like and through your fingers. So how do you protect that calm mind when life gets messy? How do you keep stress relief from becoming a fleeting moment? The answer is this: you have to become the guardian of your energy. And that starts with what I call emotional hygiene. Just like you brush your teeth every day to prevent decay, you need to clean your emotional palate regularly. That means checking in on your thoughts, your feelings, your reactions, and letting go of what doesn't serve your peace. It's not about ignoring problems. It's about choosing which ones deserve your attention. There's a saying, you can't pour from an empty cup. If your mental clarity is dry, if your calm mind is scattered, you have nothing left to give, not to others, not to your dreams, not even to yourself. So how do you refill? How do you stay full? You build rituals that nourish you. Morning meditations that ground you. Evening moments of gratitude that seal the day with peace. Breath work when anxiety creeps in. Movement that connects you to your body. And here's a secret most people overlook: nature is one of the most powerful meditation techniques there is. Even 5 minutes outside, feeling the sun on your face, listening to the wind, can reset your nervous system like nothing else. I remember days when I'd walk for 30 minutes, no headphones, no distractions, just me and the world. And I'd come back feeling like I'd unplugged from 1,000 voices in my head. That's real stress relief. That's reclaiming your calm mind. But guarding your peace also means being vigilant about the energy you let inside. And not just people, but ideas, news cycles, social media. You got to be ruthless with what you consume, because what you feed your mind becomes your reality. You want peace? Feed it peace. I want to remind you, peace isn't a one-size-fits-all formula. It's personal, it's sacred, and it's yours to define. So here's my final challenge to you. Start protecting your peace like your life depends on it, because it does. Create boundaries with kindness but firmness. Prioritize yourself without guilt. And remember, every time you choose calm over chaos, you're strengthening that inner sanctuary. And when you stumble, because you don't give up, return to your breath, return to your center, return to the simple truth. You are not your thoughts. You are the calm beneath the storm. Before we close, I want to invite you to keep this journey going, because we've only just scratched the surface. If this video helped you, you want to watch our next one. What happens when you stop obsessing over problems? It digs deep into how letting go of constant worry can transform your life. Trust me, it's the perfect next step for anyone serious about lasting peace. Here at Wisdom Recorder, we're here to be your knowledge source. So if you found value here, hit subscribe and like, because your peace is worth showing up for every single day. Thanks for being here. And remember, peace isn't something you chase. It's something you become.